Alright, it is May the 2nd, 2021. It is a Sunday, and this is really the first time I enter all of my trade stuff and my order entries, my exits, and all these things just to see if I can find some kind of an edge on what I'm doing good or what I'm doing bad to better improve my trading. But this is the first time I'm really just working on this where I'm like putting actual data, trying to get an edge somewhere. And I don't know if I'm going to do this every week here on YouTube or I'll just do it privately, but this is my I call it the trading calendar. It has a whole bunch of stuff, but it summarizes all my long trades, and these are OTC longs. I have listed longs, which I haven't traded in a very long time. You see, my last trade was in March. That was a while ago. Yeah, it was March. Haven't traded it the whole month of April, listed stocks. And then I have a study sheet where I keep track of, how much I study and, hours, minutes, and how many video lessons. And then I have the calendar here. This is April. I'm up again. I'm only trading small position sizes, but I'm up 55 bucks. It was very close, but I did have a day here, Thursday the 8th, where, I had a $31 loss, which was bigger than my biggest gain, which was on the 30th. So I would like to have a month where, I'm not really too concerned about how many green or red days do I have, because I don't trade a lot of trades, maybe 1, 2. As you can see here, I traded 3. Here I traded 3. I don't trade every day either, but I would like to have a month where all of my green days are much bigger than my red days, and my biggest green day is biggest of them all, bigger than any red day. So I didn't get that this month, but I feel like I'm controlling my trades a lot better. If you look at, I guess not February, but March, you see I was up 120, but I had some really crappy days where I was having trouble trying to get out of my position. That got me in trouble in these 3 days back here. And the cool thing is that, I can go back on YouTube and see all those days and see what went down that day. So in that sense, I think I did better because I don't have any like super majorly large, red days where I had a terrible like percent loss, since it's not much about money because I'm trading small positions, but it's about percent gains, percent losses. So let me just go over what I have right now. Again, this is not perfect. It's probably the first time I have really tried this, but just to go over the week, I had 7 trades. My winning percentage is 57%. My average dollar gain was 12 bucks, and my average dollar loss was $2. So that seems pretty nice. My average percent gain is 2.23%. My average percent loss is negative 1.22%, which kind of sucks. I need to it seems like I'm doing well cutting losses quickly, only losing a small percentage. It wasn't like, for example, let's go back to like a crappy day. The 30th of March was pretty bad, so let's go back to March 30. Right here, I guess right? Hold up. Yeah, March 30th was pretty bad, negative 89. But I don't see a trade on March 30th. Maybe I just did it wrong. Let me take back a look. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, I just didn't add, for whatever reason, probably because it was a pretty shitty day that day. I didn't add the trades into the journal, so it wasn't there. But that's the theory, right? You see, I had these bad percent losses, and the setup was horrible. This was a stock that spiked very nicely, and then it just faded the entire day, all of its gains, and I think the stock was up like 120% on the day, and it went from nothing to 120, and it went all the way back to 0, I believe, percent on the day, and I've seen some with listed stocks that do something like that, and they even go red on the day. So this is kind of like where I started to stay away from just randomly dip buying stocks. I kind of learned my lessons with that, and that's the whole point of having this, just to keep an eye on these things. So I'm not really sure where I left off, and I'm sure this thing could be a lot better if I have more trades, so I have more data. But I had 7 trades. My winning percentage was 57%. My average gain was $12. My average loss was negative $2, which is fine in terms of the size that I'm trading. Average percent gain is only 2%. Average percent loss is negative 1%. So really, it seems like and if I go back to my notes here, it says, I say be less scared, cut losses quickly, cut losses quickly. These didn't work out. Cut the trade quickly. So right here I have the date, what I rate the trade 1 to 10, what stock it is, and then what is the pattern. HIS is a head and shoulders, I believe. No, inverse head and shoulders. Should be typed differently. Should be that, inverse head and shoulders. So this is just me trying to test new setups, and it looks like I rate here, did it work, did the trade work, and here I also put, did I personally trade this well. So the best is big yes, the worst is big no, and you can see my gains are my losses, and my percent gains are percent losses. So if I had to guess, it just seems like, at least when all of these trades here worked, it says I cut the trade quickly, I cut losses quickly. I'm going to go ahead and also go over each and every single one of these trades, kind of like the way Tim Lintel does in his trading webinars, just to go back and review it. I don't know how long this video will be, but it's just going to be it's probably going to be more organized in the future, but this is just a general idea of how I might consider doing this. And right here where it's blank, I just haven't caught up to it. This is where I put, the country the stock is in, what is the catalyst. Some of these are all pumps, but some of them I put something more specific. Some of these are like crypto plays. And here's a float. And that's something that I've noticed recently. A lot of these sketchy stocks, they don't even have a float. It says on Yahoo Finance, not applicable. So that's pretty sketchy when you don't know the actual float of a stock. So another section that I want to go over right here, average dollar gain, position size. So on a trade that works out and I'm profitable, what was the size that I traded, and it's right here, 439, which is about the average that I've been doing this week. And the average dollar loss position, so when I lose on a trade, what was the average size that I traded? $200. I really like that. So that shows that on the setups I'm more confident in, and I feel like I'm going to do great, or just in my favor. I trade larger than something more speculative, so that's good. And again, it's just trying to find a way to use this data and find some kind of an edge. I could even do like an average time on the day that I'm in the trade. Here is when I get in the trade, here is when I get out, and how long I'm in the trade. So I did this here too. Average dollar gain, how long am I in the trade when I'm profitable, how long I'm in the trade when I'm not profitable, is basically the same. So there's no edge I can find there. It's not like, oh, the trades I hold for a really long time, those are the ones that end up burning me because I start to bag hold it, while trades that go really well, I don't hold that long. So I don't find an edge there. It's basically the same, but I'm happy to see that I trade a larger position size on setups that I find to be in my favor, which is good. So that's what I have right here in terms of percent gains, percent losses, and all these things. This is some kind of a rating system. I don't know if I'll keep it or if I'll adjust it, but for the two sections right here, did the setup work, and here, did I trade it well? A big yes is worth 5 points. Yes is 4 points. Kinda is 3 points. No is 2. And big no, because those are probably really bad, is a -1. So it goes from a 2 to a -1. And I do some kind of a math, so big yes, how many setups worked, that resulted in a big yes. Let's get rid of this today because that was the last week. Just one. How many were yeses? Two, as you can tell, and then three no's and one kinda. So right here my score is a 23 and the highest is a 28. 7 trades. Is going to be hard to find big yes setups all the time. It's going to be kind of hard, to trade like extremely well every single trade. I would say yes is pretty good. Big yeses like that one really was nice. Stay away from big no. So really 100 is like 100%. Getting an A plus would be, just all yeses, maybe a few big yeses. That makes it an A plus. So, and here in terms of the setups that I'm trying, is a 23 out of 28. So that means, if I do 23 out of 28, yeah, that's like getting 82, which isn't bad. That's very close to a B. That's like a C plus. So the idea here is that, I should probably focus more on setups that are profitable for me. But the thing is that because I'm so new in my trading journey and all of that stuff, at least I'd like to think I am, I'm still practicing a bunch of setups, so I can't really rate myself too harshly in terms of this, because I'm trying new setups, I'm trying to improve, I'm trying to do more than just number 5 morning panic bounce play. So it's an 82 out of 100, which is still fine. So I'm not trying setups that are absolutely trash. They all seem to be, in that sense, okay. So I think that's pretty good. An 82, and then this is like an A plus, because I got, my score was a 27, and then the best case is a 28. So that's pretty much an A. I don't know what that would equal to. That's a 96. So I got an A basically right here in terms of how I'm trading well. So that's good. I think I'm trading well overall, which is great. Again, if we were to do like the week where I did a shitty trade there in March, I would have some big no's on whether the setup worked and how I traded well, or not well, which was pretty bad on those 2 trades because, I wasn't able to cut losses quickly with the broker. So it seems like I'm doing overall, because I got, give or take, a C plus and picking the best setups, and an A in terms of how well I'm trading it. And I try to be as biased against myself as possible. On top of that, my average trade rating, so when I do the average right here from 1 to 10, it's a 6.8, which I find it to be alright. So at this point in this section, I'm just going to go over every single trade that I went through today. It's probably going to be a pain in the butt, but it's going to be for the better, I'd say. So I'm going to go over every single one of the trades. So let's try one now with RETC. And I already see this is going to be a pain in the butt. So let me adjust something and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So I have it adjusted so that one screen here, has the trading platform, and the other screen has the trading journal with all the stocks that I'm going to go over. And what, for those of you who are watching this, is this going to benefit you? Well, maybe not necessarily seeing what I've traded, or maybe just to get an idea what somebody else is trading, but I'm still on my trading journey. I'm not, trying to teach or anything, but maybe this whole thing can help you with how you organize your trades as well, or maybe see if you can get an edge on your side to find out what exactly is going well with you or what's not. So that's the kind of like the idea of this. I'm just going to go over my trades. It's really the first time I'm doing this. I do watch the videos I put here on YouTube, my recap videos, and I put everything into the chart, but that's about it. I'll be back in a moment. I'm just going to adjust one more thing, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start doing this. Alright, I'm going to change it back just so that I can watch this and anybody who's watching this can see the trades while I'm going over the setup here. It's just so I can go back and forth like this instead of having it on the other screen, and then it's kind of hard to know what the trade was. So Let's go ahead and get over this. This was on the 26th RETC, and I rated it a 6.5 out of 10. Inverse head and shoulders setup, and the buy was 1021. So now I'm gonna understand why Tim Lentil has lost so much under in his webinars, because this is like, alright, let's do this. RETC, and it was the 26th. By the way, I don't use this platform very much. It's just a backup. I've traded here before, but I haven't done it recently because I've been trading on Schwab. So this appears to be the 26th back here. So right here, and then let's just go ahead and look at a daily chart. Maybe make this a bit closer. Let's make it daily. Let's just make it something little. Sure, let's do 1 month. So this was a 26th. It looks like a first really nice green day. Just a lot of price action here. Big volume. The 26th was right here, this big green day. And then I guess right here, right, this isn't going to show the 26th, but this will right here. Again, this was a big day right here, very impressive. I probably want to move this around, just this one and this one. But anyway, we're on the 26th, and the buy was right here at 1021. This was the inverse head and shoulders attempt. And I said it works, but I barely held the stop because it made a lower low from my entry. I held for maybe 6 seconds. Yeah, 6 seconds. When it briefly broke my level, it looked pretty bad, and I wanted to cut losses quickly. Good trade attempt. All of these are on Profitly, by the way. So 1021.58. Let's go ahead and get back here. 1021.58. So let's bring this a bit closer. About right here, 1021, and you can see the inverse head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder, and these are all by 1 minute. I bought 1021, so I bought in this candle right here, and I got spooked out just because this candle right here, which was still making the inverse head and shoulders, was just slightly lower than it. And now let me go ahead, and I'm actually going to add VWAP because I've been looking at VWAP a lot more often. Right, I think it's somewhere here. Alright, let me come back. Let me make sure I add VWAP right here. Oh, actually right here. Shoot. I don't see VWAP. Should be volume weighted average price. Alright, I'll come back. Let me just add VWAP and I'll keep going. Okay, I got it back. So I added VWAP. It was pretty much studies, add studies, and then all studies you can go by alphabetical order. And I accidentally went, so I guess VWAP was just at the next section. I went to the first section. It's in the second section, VWAP, and then you have to remove the upper and lower variation of the VWAP. So now I have VWAP here, and I liked this setup. I remember now it was the inverse head and shoulders, and it held VWAP, at least I wanted it to. Here it was kind of below VWAP, so I was already kind of giving it a bit of a chance, and then when it made just a lower low, it kind of scared me. Overall, I just got too scared. I mean, who gets in a trade and gets out 6 seconds later? It wasn't that bad. I just need to just continue to get more experience and be less scared, but that was eventually the setup. I sold the next minute, you know, 1022. Was it a loss? It was a tiny loss, $1.75, and I traded just a tiny $200 position because it is something that I'm not, you know, really used to. So let's go ahead and just see how it did eventually. I guess let's just go back actually to this level right here. So I bought it right here, right? And then when it did that next candle, for a moment it looked like it was gonna get worse. And then just going by it, you know, I bought at, when did I buy it exactly? At 0.6, well, 65. So I bought here at 65, and then eventually it got as high as 73. So the setup did work in that sense. Looks like it put up a higher low from this level, at least as of right now. You know, just give or take 10 minutes from that level. And it looks like it does continue to trade back and forth. I would have probably gotten out by then, but you know, it seems like it kept trailing right there. That's not bad, really. Could have done better, sure, could have done worse, but I'd say overall that was a pretty good trade. And yeah, I was just too scared. So alright, let's go ahead and look at the next trade. I need to figure out how to do the zoom thing, the zoom in and out. Oh, I just figured out. You just press Control Zoom. Again, this was the inverse head and shoulders right here. I bought at 65 and then I sold because I didn't like how it went lower. It worked out eventually. First big green day, lots of volume traded. Kind of trailed back and forth a little bit. It did break out of this range eventually. This 70 range can get as high as 81 right here, but that was a bit later. Overall, wasn't bad. You know, had I have held, it did get to 73 relatively easily, so that's not that bad. The next trade is GGII, and that is also on the 26th. Alright, so let's go back to the 26th. This was the 26th right here. And then let's go back here. 26 looks like, you know, it was a continuation. Looks like the third day. Ultimately a bit sketchy right here, but you know, it did continue to uptrend even more, so that's pretty impressive. I bought the 26 for GGII. Let's just make it easy and do that. This was a stutter before a higher day, so I was pretty much buying something where I feel like it's gonna break the higher day, but it's just having a little baby downtrend. Overall, did the setup work? No. Did I trade it well? Yes. Cut losses quickly. I lost $4. My position was tiny again because it's speculative. 295, so a $300 position. Just a small percent loss too. I bought at 1052. So let's look at 1052 for GGII. So let's go ahead and just bring it back a little. 1052 was right here, and I bought at, what did I buy at 1050? Wait, what? Yeah, I bought at 1052, and I bought at 24.2. So 1052, 24.2. I bought right here. So ultimately, was thinking this was a little baby dip right here before it would try a nice uptrend again and try to break the high here at 26, or maybe the level. Actually, I remember now, the level here was 24.6. This was the level I was trying to wait for it to break, give or take 25. So when it dropped here a little bit, I thought it could hold right here 24, immediately hold 24. Wouldn't want it to be under 24. You know, just a cheeky buy, small position to see if it can try to uptrend. Maybe it's putting up higher lows. Obviously didn't work right here. We had a downtrend. And let's see, I bought at 1052. I actually bought and sold the same minutes. Let's just read right here. Speculative trade. 25 was that level. It did it, but it was too fast for my entrance. That was when it broke the level previously right here. It wasn't really nice. It wasn't like a confirmed breakout. My idea was to get out if 0.241 appears on the bid, and that was a good idea. I liked this trade a lot. It didn't work, but I traded it well, because if it was going to show 241, because again it opened right here in this candle, if it was going to get as low as 241 in the bid and ask, 241 could break, then it's 24, and then it breaks to 23. So that was a really good trade in that sense. It just didn't work out. It wasn't really midday. We were getting towards midday, but not truly midday. Didn't work out. The stock continued the uptrend eventually. It didn't have a red day, but it continued after that, and that's pretty impressive. I like that trade. That was a pretty good one. That's why I rated it. It wasn't too bad. It was a speculative trade, 6.5. Really just a good trade. AITX. This was a morning panic bounce play. This one didn't work ultimately. Traded it well, cut losses quickly, although I did make a profit, so really I just cut the trade quickly because I didn't like the price action. This was the 27th. So let's look at AITX on the 27th. Alright, let's look at the 27th right here. So, you know, just had this nice run up right here, and it's kind of looking like it's trailing back, maybe continuing an uptrend. 27 ended up being that red day, so it was having a nice uptrend here from, you know, 5 to, you know, as high as 11, but it ultimately just didn't work out. Sorry if this thing's a little twitchy. I have a Razer mouse, and although they're really good, they're known to have problems with the scroll wheel button. Yeah, it just didn't work out. You know, kind of looks like it was trying to uptrend and make us like another run up from that previous run up it did back in February. So let's go back to the 27th for AITX. And this is the 27th right here. So yeah, clearly had a morning panic right here, and I bought at 936. My price was at 1017, so 936, 1017. Right about here, 936, 1017. So the first green candle, and I bought at 1017, so that was about right here, 936. So it was the first green candle, although on the wick, so it wasn't too bad. This was buying the first time that it was showing some kind of a reversal on the level 2. And I went ahead and sold at 1034. So it was a small profit from 17 to 34, and that was at 938. So 936 again was that first green candle, and I sold at 938 right here at 1034. So that was about right here. I sold right here, right there, and I bought like right here. So I actually did pretty well considering the fact that it became a stutter step. It downtrended, and it's not like I knew it was going to downtrend. I had an idea because AITX is known to be very choppy. Let's just read the trade notes. This was a morning panic attempt. Good entry, bad price action. Failed to break that 104 level. Known to be choppy, so I sold. That was a pretty good trade. I bought right here, and then I sold right here. And it was failing to crack that 4 level right here. You can see it kind of did it a little bit every single candle, but it failed. Here it kind of did it a bit more, but then it downtrended. Ultimately made, a StarSedz because it panicked more to 97, and then it uptrended. And then right here, I guess it, not really. This is like a double bottom based off the wicks, but it is a higher low if you don't base this wick right here. And it did do an uptrend later. Not the first time I've seen that. This is kind of new where it fails and then it puts up like a lower low and then it works. I'll have to keep looking at that to see how that goes, but I'd say that was a pretty good trade. I was in it for a minute and 55 seconds, excuse me. $6, $1.60, 1.67% average position here at $400. So yeah, that was not bad of a trade. IDEX, let's see, first day runner close sell. So this is me, it wasn't IDEX, it was IGEX. Although I do know IDEX, which is an older stock that I've seen before. Just a small position at $80. So let's look at IGEX on the 28th. I need to just click here, it's easier. IGEX, let's go on the 28th. So right here, the first green day, pretty impressive. Nice green day, although as you can see, that was all that it did. Look at the volume the next 2 days, it just didn't last that long. Sub penny stock. So let's go to the 28th, and this is the 28th right here. So let's just go ahead and have this right here, the 28th, and I bought at 252 and I bought at 40, so 250, 240. So I bought right here 252, 40, and it looks like I sold 255.48 right here. Then I sold, 255. So it just this tiny section right here. So I bought this stock again, small position. This was me trying to understand stocks that do a nice run up towards the close. This one was up a nice percent on the day. I think it was up like 150% on the day, and it ultimately just didn't work out here because I wasn't able to put a stop loss on Schwab. For some reason, as it says right here, doesn't allow orders, stop orders. So I just closed it, and it didn't work out eventually. Ultimately it did kind of do a downtrend. I might have been stopped out here. I guess it would have been better to have just bought this level right here, 35, which was important because it was holding it very nicely, and then the next day it looks like it failed to break it, had a bit of a downtrend, and went red on the day, just continued the downtrend. And yeah, same was the other day, the 30th, the last day. Again, it's a Sunday, so it's no trading today. That was a setup. I traded that one pretty well, considering the fact that I didn't say, oh well, I can't put a stop. Let's just YOLO it. It's $80. I have to take all of these trades seriously. It doesn't matter the size. The 29th was GGII. This was a morning panic bounce play, number 5. Did a setup work? Kinda. Did I trade it well? Yes. $12. Traded a $400 position size, 3% gain. So let's go ahead and look at GGII for the 29th. And the 29th was, so yeah, again, this is the stock I traded previously. Just had that little stutter step. I traded this day, I believe. But then it eventually caught us off. It continued the uptrend, and it went up just one more day. A little bit of a struggle right here. You see the fading volume, but that was a pretty good trade. So let's go to the 29th, which is right here. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's actually bring it a bit closer. So this was the morning panic right here, and I bought at 932. $400 position size, 932, 27.6. So 932, 27.6. Right here, I bought right here, which was kind of risky. I remember going over this. This wasn't too long ago, and these are my trades. Tim Lintel goes over another person's trade, Art of Wars trades, sometimes Jackaroos, Tim Sykes. So I bought here on this red candle. Kind of different. I normally wait and buy on the first green candle, but it was showing some kind of a reversal. As you can see, it closed here, right? But then it opened right here. So this was a pretty big move. It had a downtrend a little bit. 27.6 at 932, and then I sold at 933. Was in the trade for 39 seconds. So 932, 933. I sold in this green candle, and this was me just being a bit of a chicken. I sold at what? I sold at 284. So again, I bought at 276 here, then I sold at 284. So near the top of this green candle, the first green candle, it does kind of show like no significant sign of a max panic volume candle down here, but it did ultimately spike for only 2 minutes. Let's go ahead and read what I said here. Good entry, should have considered selling half instead of all to hold a position longer, and that's still something I hold to, even though it bounced for only 2 minutes. Again, like not this week, but last week and the week before, some of these number 5s would have just like such a large first green candle after it's downtrending that it gets to the point where you should be very quick and it's not going to bounce too long, and if it does bounce it'll be a few minutes and they're large. So this is kind of like what it was right here. And what else did I say? In the end, it was a 2-minute spike, made a lower low. Again, this is going over what I mentioned previously with AITX. Also did a similar thing where it made a lower low from the panic bottom and then it did a nice uptrend. I didn't buy here because this was a lower low, but you know, this is something I might have to take into consideration. Maybe not to be afraid of lower lows, or maybe this was just a one-time thing. But I've seen a lot of these that do a morning panic, bounce, a tiny bounce, puts up a higher low, and then it does a real bounce. But in this case, it was a lower low. That's just something I'll have to keep looking at to see if there's some kind of a thing I have to change with it. This was an overall good trade. It was 12 bucks. Nice percent gain because it didn't work too nicely. Could have sold a bit better. You know, could have sold half my position and then sold the other half when I see that it's really struggling the uptrend. So, you know, in that sense, just focus on holding the trade a bit better. Still gave it a 7 out of 10. And the next one was BPSR. BPSR was also on the 29th. And I went long here at 330, so BPSR the 29th. Alright, the 29th, which was right here. You know, second green day, a pretty impressive move. It did have a first red day here. Volume faded just a little bit. It was still very impressive given what the stock was. So let's look at the 29th for BPSR. You know, it's right here. So let's go ahead and do this. 29th, and I bought at, you know, 330, 56, 37. So 330, 56, 37. Alright, let's just kind of do it like that. 56.37, so that wasn't too bad of an entry right here. It was in this first green candle, which I like buying the first green candle. 56.37, so give or take right here. And I sold at 31. I sold the next minute, so I sold in this candle right here, bought in this candle 37, sold this candle at 56.75, so it was a tiny profit. Traded a tiny $80 position again, made less than 1%, 57 pennies. I bought in this candle right here, 37, give or take right here, and then I sold in this candle 70. What was it? 75 or what was it? Yeah, 56.75. So yeah, so this was impressive because I liked it. And the fact that this is the trade where I wasn't on this computer, I wasn't on my laptop, so I kind of had that going against me because I wasn't really in my, you know, the setup that I'm really used to. The screen on the laptop, the chart was kind of small and hard to look at, but the idea here was that this thing is up the second day, very nice. Maybe it can do a nice uptrend towards the close that I can sell this into because I'm too scared of selling these, you know, holding them overnight. Even though it was very successful if I had done that the other day instead of doing IGEX. Still pretty impressive. And the idea was that it was holding this 56 level, which was, you know, support here, didn't even touch 56 here. Here it downtrended below it, but it caught itself. Support, you know, caught itself right here. And then, you know, it was just a very important level. Especially if you go back earlier in the day, 56 was resistance right here. This was the highest it got to. So later in the day, you know, it broke past it right here. You know, it broke it here, and this was the previous highs in the morning. So in that sense, that was pretty impressive because it was holding a very important level of 56. And I bought and sold here. I was on my laptop, not the best setup, you know, in terms of trading setup, as in, you know, my monitor and everything like that. and I did not want it to do, even if it was going to work out eventually, because I was in all of these circumstances, I wanted it to be ideally perfect where it just continues the uptrend. I don't want to risk it going lower than where I bought, because I'm not in the best ideal conditions, and that's why I sold immediately. Just didn't like the price action. It did ultimately drop back to 56 right here, but it did do a nice uptrend from 56 to 60, and that's where it closed at, basically 59. It did touch 60. This was a nice setup. It worked. Had I have been maybe on my main computer here, it could have held longer, it would have been more profitable. Again, I just wanted it to be perfect. It did put up a higher low. It's not like this was a double bottom from here. It was a higher low, so in that sense that was pretty good. Overall, just a really good setup. Had I been again on my main computer, this worked out nicely. The only thing against it was that it was a second day, not as ideal as the first day, but it was still a good trade. And that's basically what I said right here. Same thing. And now let's just go over the last trade, the 30th. 7 out of 10 GGII. This was another morning panic setup, so I traded it right here. Also the previous day, so I traded it again, and this was nice because I traded a larger position size, and I'm going to keep considering that, trading larger position sizes. But let's just look at GGII for the 30th. And the 30th was, just the last day, Friday, today Sunday again. Just continued a nice uptrend, although we have fading volume. It's not uptrending much more than the previous day. It could still keep going. It could have like a massive blow off, green candle, people getting squeezed who are short and momentum buyers, or it can just continue a downtrend from here. Might even try to consolidate a little and then try to break out. I can do a lot of things. That's a great way to summarize it. But let's go ahead and look. This was a morning panic setup right about here. So let's look. I bought at 932 and I sold at 934. So I bought in this candle and I sold 932, and I sold in this green candle right here. So let's look at the exact levels. I bought, that's funny. I bought and sold at 3 pennies. I bought at 285, sold at 295. So 285, 932, 932 first green candle right here, 285. So I remember this. This was not my best entry. I didn't like it. With Charles Schwab, it was kind of trading down here because I saw the level 2 reverse a bit sooner. This was like the top of my limit, so it got executed right at my limit top. So I mean, ultimately it was great that I got executed, right? But I could have gotten a bit lower, I think, but it still happened. I still got in the trade. That was one of the things that affected me in terms of how long I held this trade. Wasn't in really at the best level I wanted to be at, but I have to be a lot less picky when it comes to stuff like that, because I've seen that happen before where I don't get the position exactly where I want it to be, so I'm kind of iffy. I sell out of it. But then I missed a really nice setup just because I was a bit too picky on something that maybe I should be a little concerned about, but not just so picky with it that I just cut myself from a nice trade. I sold at 934 at 295, so 934, this candle, 295 was right here, and I bought at 285. So again, I bought here and I sold here, and I don't regret this trade. I don't regret the sell, because even if I didn't sell, this was struggling for a long time right here, although we did get a nice, I guess right here, a max panic volume candle, but we also had it here. So that was a bit conflicting, because you ideally only want to see that once at the very bottom of the drop on that, a max panic candle, but we actually had another one right here. Again, it struggled for a long time at 30. I would have sold here had I have not sold at 295. I probably could have just held it a little better, but I was a bit of a chicken. But I don't regret that too much, because I was trading a much larger position size than before. So yeah, we did get to this level right here, and then when we broke past it, I remember this, you know, it made me look dumb, but I don't regret it. Nice uptrend. It got as high as, you know, 34 without a red candle, so that's pretty impressive. Very impressive. This one worked very nicely. This was over a 20% spike. I hope we can see more of those. And let's just see, for the first time in a while, trading a larger size worked well. Better entry. Sell was fine. Talked about the wall. Yep. And that was it. So yeah, I'm just gonna call it off. I'm gonna rewatch this. I'm gonna keep this stuff, I guess, in terms of setups, C+, but I'm trying new setups, so I can't beat myself up too much, but I am also not trading like horrible setups. How I traded in general, it's an A, so that's pretty good. Again, sorry about the twitchy mouse wheel. Don't get a Razer mouse. Right here, the 26th to the 30th, because you know that makes it a week. Trading calendar right here. Right? Oh yeah, that's March. I was like, did I just ruin this whole thing? This was the week right here. 7 trades. Did overall good, as in trading. Setups could improve, but again, I'm trying different setups. I'm trading larger position sizes on setups that work, and smaller position sizes on setups that end up losing money, which is perfect. I'm doing well in terms of that. Risk management, no edge here in terms of how long do I hold the trade. Average dollar gain is 12 bucks. Average dollar loss is 2 bucks. So, you know, if I'm just trading a much larger account, this would be ideal. You know, average dollar gain would be $1,253, and average loss would be, you know, 200 bucks. That would be very nice. 57% winning percentage, which is pretty good considering that I am trying new setups. It's not like I'm only trading my bread and butter. I'm still trying to find more setups to get good at, but I need to improve this. I need to let some of these trades run a little bit longer, a little bit better. This one was one where I could have, you know, with more experience, hold a bit better. The inverse head and shoulders was a nice one that worked very nicely had I have held through it, so I need to keep working on setups in terms of that. And then the one with BSPR, maybe had I a bit of my computer here, could have held that longer. That would have helped maybe increase my average percent gain tremendously. So yeah, just gonna call it off. I need to work on holding trades a bit longer, maybe being a bit less scared. I'm doing well in terms of should I trade a normal or a small position size, depending on what type of setup I'm doing. I'm really good. Not really good, but I'm at my best trading morning panic bounce plays number 5 setups. Trying to learn other positions, you know, not positions, but other setups. I'm gonna call it off right here. I'd say it was a pretty good week. You know, I hope I can do more of these. In terms of the week, definitely my biggest gain was much larger than my biggest loss, so that's pretty good. Need to do better with my percent gains, but yeah, a lot of progress I need to go through. I look forward to this week. Whether I do horrible or not, it's just gonna be a continued journey.